But so, what else have you noticed recently? You've noticed the massive uptick in babies. And can I ask, how old were these babies? Were they sort of newborns?
Well, yeah, newborns or miscarried. I don't know any more than that. I just see them in the fridges, even without names. Baby of, and then the parent's name.
Wow.
Yeah, it's shocking, and I'm sure there's many more people noticing it too. You see, we don't deal with newborn babies, so I don't get to see what goes on with them, but I see them in the fridges in the mortuaries.
And is there anything else that you'd like to tell me that I maybe haven't asked you?
Can't think of anything. Just that the deaths of adults are down right now. As I say, you've had the waves of people that have been affected by vaccines. Not that it's written down that they've died of vaccines, but it's there. And COVID's just non-existent.
And can I ask, what is your message to any other people who are thinking of speaking out, any other undertakers or nurses?
I say do it. Problem is with a lot of undertakers who are working for big companies, you're not allowed to speak out, but if you're seeing this, you need to speak out. I mean, it's there, it's clear as day. Nobody else sees these death certificates apart from us and the crematorium staff, so it's all there.
That's it. Well, thank you very much.
Pleasure. My name's Wesley. I've been a funeral director for over 3 years, so I have a bit of knowledge about what was going on before this pandemic started and what's going on right now. So there was a spike back in March, April last year, and after that it considerably calmed down. It was all hyped from what I was seeing, and they shut down these extra storage units that they had in the summer, and they never opened them up again.
Did they use them in the first place?
Yes, but I don't think... I couldn't tell you how many bodies were in there, but they soon went back down. They were only up for a couple of months.
So the only time you saw a spike was right at the start of this whole thing, and since there's been next to nothing?
Well, come autumn, it was probably one of the quietest on record, and other funeral directors will tell you that, where they can speak out. But come January, the numbers were going through the roof. But this time the extra storage units were hidden, they were out of the way. And that's since people were being vaccinated. So this year, as the vaccinations have gone on, I've seen trends through the age groups. Obviously it's not marked down that they're vaccinated, but to have the most funerals that you've ever done in 2 weeks, and they're all aged 30, 40, no older.
And that's what you're seeing now?
That's what I saw earlier in the year when that age group got vaccinated.
And what sort of proportion was that compared to the proportions that you usually deal with?
Well, you usually deal with all different age groups, but as I was saying, that the elderly that were probably going to go in the next year or year and a half or whatever, they've already gone. So there's a big gap there. So we weren't having those deaths anymore. And with younger people, they're now vaccinated, and I had about 12 in one go.
And how many would you usually get in?
Oh, very few. But I mean, we've had high suicide rates, especially in young men. Then that was mainly last summer into the autumn.
But could you give people a sense of proportion? You got 12 in a short space of time. How many would you get in that space of time? One, or maybe like a 50% chance?
We normally have about 4 or 5 funerals going, not 11, 12, and not all of that age group. There would be old people in there.
Right, yeah.
So, and then now it's quiet, and what I've seen is a lot of newborn babies in the fridges in the mortuaries.
So do you want to talk about the number of newborn babies that you've seen in the mortuaries?
Oh, they're really high. They're up at about 30 in one hospital.
And how many would they usually have?
They have fridges that will hold about 6 to 10 maximum. and they're never normally full. But now they're all in the adult section.
So there's about maybe 10 times the rate that they would usually have.
Yeah. And obviously there are either miscarried or full-term births, stillbirths, but not a lot's been said about it.
Wow. And what else have you seen? Have you seen another sort of uptake in deaths in younger people recently?
Not in people under 20, and not in their 20s really. But above that, yes. Earlier in the summer when they all first went out and got vaxxed. But you see, what's going to happen is you're going to get the ones that it triggers something in them, or that they haven't got very good health that they maybe don't know about, so they will go first. And then down the line, we're probably going to see a lot more.
And what have you seen being put down on the death certificates?
There's a lot of myocarditis, myocardial infractions. It's all blood, heart-based pneumonia. But COVID, I've only had one this year. One COVID death written down since January.
Out of how many?
I couldn't tell you how many we've done, but if you're saying there's a pandemic going on, there should be more than that. But it's like they're not that bothered anymore. They can just twist their figures and do whatever.
So would that be hundreds that you do in a year, or maybe 100?
Yeah. But you see, last year they were marking anybody and everybody down with it. You would have they died of other things. They were testing them and they were marking them down as COVID. But now, since the vaccination's been going, they're not doing that.
So do you think it's because they feel confident that these injections are working on people that they're not putting people down?
Yeah, they're just scaring people on the TV.
So it's a psychological thing?
Yeah. Get your vaccination. And what they're going to do now, I don't know, when more and more people start dying of this vaccination. I mean, you've had the initial reactions, but what's going to happen down the line? And
so can I ask, in terms of them last year marking people down as COVID deaths, how many, what sort of proportion do you think were falsely attributed?
Oh, a high proportion, because they were testing everybody. So if you tested positive and that wasn't anything to do with it, I mean, I had one person really upset about it. The person was dying of something else. I think it was cancer at the time, and they marked it down as a COVID death.